your wife is ungrateful to you. You have done so much for your wife. You work so hard so that you can fulfill her desires, fulfill her needs, fulfill her wants. When she was sick, you have taken care of her. She needed money, you have given the money. In fact, when her parents needed money, you helped them out and you had been so generous. And in spite of that, during a fight, she says to you that, "What have you done for me?" And it really hurts you. It makes you feel that your wife is ungrateful. If this is you, then I want you to continue to watch this video. Hi, my name is Valerian Sequeira, and I help men to create the marriage that they want to live in. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about the 4 reasons and the 4 tips. I'm going to talk about why is your wife ungrateful and what are the 4 tips that will help your wife to become grateful again. But before I do that, I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear in the sense that this video is not for everybody. If you are somebody who wants to blame, who wants to criticize, who doesn't want to learn, grow, understand, then please don't watch this video. But if you are somebody who wants to really understand the deeper reason why your wife is ungrateful to you and you want to turn things around because you really love your wife and you want her to be grateful and respect you, and because you have children and you really love them and you're willing to do whatever it takes to bring back love, bring back that connection that you once had, then continue to watch this video. So with that, let us jump into the 4 reasons. So what are the 4 reasons? The first reason why a wife um, is ungrateful or she doesn't express her gratitude is because you are a man who I call it as a 10 roses in one day man. So, what does it mean? It means that imagine that, let me ask you this, which is better, receiving 1 rose a day or receiving 10 roses on one day? What do you think? The answer is, of course, 1 rose a day. Because if you receive 10 roses on one day, and for the next 10 days or 15 days, for a month, for a year, you forget about that person, the person feels unloved. And many a times we men are, we become that 10 roses in one day man. That means throughout the year, we are not there. We are busy at the meeting. We are busy with our clients. We are busy at the workplace. We are busy with our business. And then on one fine day, on her birthday, we give her something really grand, something really expensive. And then after a while, our wife doesn't even acknowledge it. And we feel that I've worked so hard to give her this. I have worked so hard to build this house. I've worked so hard to buy this car. Who is it for? It's for her comfort. And she doesn't even acknowledge it. The reason being that you have worked so hard to give something big. What she really wanted was something really small. It's like 1 rose. Maybe your time, maybe your presence, maybe your listening ear, maybe your understanding, maybe you being on her side when she was going through a very low phase. Maybe she was going through depression and she just wanted you to be there. And when you are not there, she feels that, what's the use? What's the use of he doing so much and telling me that he's working so hard for me while he is not there for me? So this is the first reason. The second reason why um, you feel that your wife is ungrateful is you're a senseless giver. Who is a senseless giver? Every A senseless giver is a person who doesn't understand the need of the person he's giving to. Like, for example, there's somebody who is hungry and you give him education, but you have not fulfilled his hunger. Now, that's what happens to us in our relationship. Why? Because we think that the other person, our wife, is just like us. Of course, she's like us. Maybe we come from a same religious background, maybe we are from a same place. Of course, all those similarities match. But what we are different is at the personality level. My personality and my wife's personality is not same. So if it is different, then my emotional need in a relationship is very different from my wife's needs, emotional needs. So what I do is I think that my wife is just like me and I start taking care of her emotional needs. not the way she wants it, but the way I want it. And then she feels whatever you've done for me is because I've given without realizing it. Without realizing it. Now let's look at the third reason. The third reason is this. The third reason is there are fights and arguments in your marriage. So let me explain to you what I mean by this and why this is a cause for your wife, you thinking that your wife is ungrateful. So let me ask you this. Your wife told you that what have you done for me? And you felt really hurt. The question is, did she get up one morning? Everything was fine, going fine between you guys. There was loads of love, loads of connection. For months, you had not fought. There were no arguments. And one fine morning, she gets up and she comes to you at around 7 o'clock in the evening. And she comes to you and says, I want to tell you something. You are the most ungrateful person. Nothing has happened, nothing has triggered her. That has not happened, right? What has happened is probably you started having fights and arguments. And during one of those fights, you said something that triggered her and it made her really feel hurt. You said something like, you never take care of me, how much I've done for you. I work so hard. And she says, what have you done for me? What have you done for me? What's the use of all this? She said that because you had a fight and an argument, a fight or an argument. If you didn't have a fight or an argument, she wouldn't have said that. So the third reason why you think your wife is ungrateful and why she said that, what have you done for me, is because of the fight and argument. The last one is the last thing that I want to focus on when we are talking about the reasons. Let's come back here. Is you have an ungrateful culture. What is this ungrateful culture? And lot of us, a lot of us, especially back in India, I don't know about other countries, but I know that some of the countries, people are extremely grateful for even the smallest things. But especially in India, we do not have a grateful culture. What do I mean? When somebody does something for me really big, and we say thank you. If somebody outside of my house who is not my friend, not my relative, not somebody who is very close to, I say thank you. Now, this is generally a culture in our families, especially inside the house. Nobody says thank you for even the smallest things. And what happens is, from our perspective, from my perspective, I say to myself, it's awkward to say thank you when my wife makes breakfast in the morning because it's her duty to make breakfast, or when she makes lunch. It's There's no point, like, it's such a small thing, you do it every day. But over a period of time, we develop a culture of not being grateful. And when we develop that culture, we stop. Two things happen. One, we feel that we are taken for granted, and that's what you're feeling. And why are you feeling? Because your wife is your reflection, she's also feeling the same way. And the people who feel that they are taken for granted, they don't care about the other person's emotions, just the way your wife is doesn't care about your emotions. So what has come back to what we were talking about? In your relationship, there is no thank you. It has, if you check your relationship for the um, last week, you don't even remember a time she said thank you to you, and you don't even remember a time you said thank you to her. And this is true for most of the marriages when they go through a power struggle. And if you want to know more about this power struggle stage and what happens after the power struggle, I want you to attend one of my master classes. They're absolutely free. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the link in the description and in the comments, so just check out there. Sign up for this masterclass. It is absolutely free. 90 minutes. I'm going to go deep into helping you understand how you can bring back love and that amazing connection you once had. So if this is true, then in your case, what is that one reason because of which your wife is ungrateful to you, or you feel that your wife is ungrateful to you? I want you to go to the comments and write the number. There are 4 reasons. Write the number. All right. Now let's go to the next one. The next one is, if your wife is ungrateful to you, or you feel that your wife is ungrateful to you, then let's talk about what can you do. Here are 4 tips that I want to share with you. The first tip that I want to share with you is focus on giving one rosary. What does it mean? In our relationship, Pallavi and I, we say thank you to each other for every tiny thing, because there is nothing called free lunch. There is nothing free in this world. And if somebody is doing something for us, it could be washing the vessel, to cooking, to cleaning the house, to taking care of the maid, to um, paying the electricity bill, to everything is done out of immense goodness from the other person. So I got to acknowledge that goodness. So the first thing is, every day I say thank you to my wife for the even the smallest things I she does for me. And initially, one of the things, as you learn relationship science, you'll understand that if you have not said thank you to your wife for a long time, when you start saying this, your wife will find it funny, and she might make fun of you, saying that, what's wrong with you, why are you saying this, are you, what's this naughty, please stop it. She might say all these things, but just ignore it. It is just that she's not used to hearing thank you from you. So this is the first thing. The second thing is, so one rose a day. The second thing to focus on is to know her personality type. Because if you don't understand our personality type and you do the most loving things, you're only ruining your relationship. I'll give you two examples. You are somebody who loves success, and you want to achieve things. You want to, from that achievement, you want to buy the most expensive exotic things. You want to take her to the most exotic places. Now that's you. And if somebody does that for you, you will feel really loved. So what do? Instead of being at home, you work really hard. And as you're working hard over there, you're hardly at home, because your goal is to work so hard so that you can earn so much so that you can take her for a holiday. Now, in this context, you have not understood her personality type. This is what you want, but may not be something that she wants. Let me give you one more example. Let's say you are somebody who likes the house to be clean, everything neat and tidy. So you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you clean the whole house, you arrange everything, you wash the vessels, and your wife gets up at 8 o'clock and she doesn't even say thank you to you. And you feel that, God, I've done so much for her, and she doesn't even care. It's true, because keeping the house clean is your need, not hers, because her personality is different from yours. So the next thing you got to learn is, you got to learn her personality type. How do you learn her personality type? I have a special program and a personal session for you to learn the personality type. All that you have to do is just attend the masterclass, and then you can take it up from there. Now, this is the personality type. Now, let's go to the next one. The third thing is, you got to end fights and arguments, because fights and arguments bring out the worst in us. Fights and arguments bring out the worst in us, because during a fight or an argument, obviously we say things that have been hurting us, but we also say things to defend ourselves. So during a fight, you say something like, I work so hard for you, why don't you understand? Now that sentence makes your wife say, what have you done for me? Now why did she say that? Because you said this. Why did you say that? Because you didn't know how to manage the fights and arguments in your marriage. People say that fights and arguments in a marriage are normal. I don't believe it, because fights and arguments are like war. Do you think war between two countries is normal? Of course not. But what is normal is disagreements. You see that in between two countries, between two neighbors, between two corporations, disagreements are normal. Disconnects are normal. But every disconnect doesn't have to end up with a fight or an argument, provided that you know how to take a pause when you have a disconnect, and then reconnect again. And when you reconnect, you don't hide or shove it under the carpet what has happened. Instead of that, you bring it up and you talk about it in a way that makes each other feel, both of you feel loved. So end fights and arguments. And finally, the fourth point is, create a thank you culture. Create a thank you culture. It means that in your marriage, in your relationship, do not take anything for gratitude, anything for granted. It is like we have one of our men. He says to me that he has moved from power struggle to amazing marriage, and he says to me that in the afternoon I just message her and I just say thank you. Thank you for this tiffin. Thank you for that breakfast in the morning. Thank you for remembering me to reminding me to, you know, pay that electricity bill that I had forgotten. Thank you for not shouting at me today when I forgot to do something. Thank you. And what does his wife do? Always remember this, your wife is your reflection. When you change in a systematic way after learning relationship science, your wife also changes. So, what does his wife do? Initially, she used to notice this new change in him as he was part of the program, as he is part of the program. Then she started doubting this change in him, like, what is wrong with this guy? And then she started resisting this change in him. And finally, now she's trusting that change and she's feeling good. She's feeling that, my husband really acknowledges my efforts. And guess what she's doing right now? She's doing the same. For every tiny thing, she looks at him and says, you work so hard. You don't have to go on a Saturday, but you go. You want to send our kids to the best school. You love the kids. And that's what makes me feel so proud of you. What has happened? He started the magic. So, what I would like you to do right now is I would like you to go to the comment section before we end this video. I want you to go to the comment section and I want you to write down one thing that you're going to follow from these 4 tips. And before you leave, click on that subscribe button if you have not subscribed, and also click on the bell button so that whenever I put up a video that happens every week, you get a notification. So thank you so much for watching this video. And right now, I want you to watch this video called My Wife is a Liar and find out why your wife is a liar. So check out that video, and until we connect again, keep your love story alive.